their progression. 6, to inspect and certify all premises for food and supplements preparation and sale. 7, to analyze or cause to be analyzed samples of food or food supplement to ascertain the composition. 8, to register all food manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, and retailers. And finally, to prepare standard for various foods and food supplements. May God bless you.
I'm going to read the registration statement. The registration committee established by the Act is a committee of the council and is responsible for registration of nutritionists and dietitians, both in public and private institutions, qualified to be registered under the Act, indexing of the students from all the institutions dealing with nutrition and dietetics, alongside the disciplinary committee, can recommend the registration of non-compliant members or institutions. The committee only registers professionals of good conduct who have successfully attained a certificate, diploma, and degree, or has passed the appropriate examinations prescribed by the institute. The registrar shall generally carry out the function of registering persons qualified to be registered under this Act. Persons entitled to be registered, please listen carefully. Number 1, a person shall be entitled to registration if he satisfies the council that he is of good conduct and has paid the registration fee and has attained the age of 18 years, has successfully undergone a certificate, diploma, or degree course of instruction, and has passed the appropriate examinations conducted or prescribed by the institute. Or 3, has passed the accreditation examination set by the accreditation of the council. Registration of nutritionists and dietitians. This is also very critical. 1, a person eligible to be registered under this Act shall apply in the prescribed form to the CEO/registrar. Number 2, registration may be declined in cases of impropriety. Certificate of registration. The institute shall issue to every person registered under this Act a certificate in the prescribed form. The registration, this also is very critical, especially to the graduates. The council may at any time direct that the name of a person be removed from the register where such a person, number 1, fails with a period of 6 months from the date of an inquiry sent by the CEO/registrar by registered post to the address appearing in the register against such person's name, to notify the CEO of his current address. Number 2, request that this name be removed from the register, in which case such a person may be required to certify the council by an affidavit lodged with the CEO/registrar that no criminal proceedings and this Act have been instituted or are likely to be instituted against him. Number 3, if he is found by the council to be guilty of professional misconduct in accordance with the Act. 4, the CEO/registrar shall remove from the register any entry which has been incorrectly or fraudulently made. 5, subject to the provision of this Act, the removal of a person's name from the register shall be notified by the CEO/registrar to the person by registered mail addressed to the address appearing in the register against his name or her name at least 14 days before such removal. Number 6, where the name of any person has been removed from the register under this act, such name shall not be reinstated except by direction of the council. 7, the CEO/registrar shall from time to time update the register, removing from it the names of any deceased members and degazetting them. Licensing. Number 1, no person shall engage in private practice unless he has been issued with a valid license to practice. This is very critical, otherwise you might find yourself into trouble. Number 2, the institute may issue to a nutritionist or dietitian who has applied in the prescribed form a license to practice on his or her own behalf or to be employed by a registered nutritionist or dietitian. 3, the institute shall grant a license to a nutritionist or dietitian on payment of the prescribed fee and shall state whether the license may be practiced or is on behalf or on employment. Prescribed fee. Payment of fees is very critical. If you don't renew your practice, then I think a disciplinary action will be taken against you. Validity of license. Number 1, after the expiry of 12 months from the commencement of this act, no person shall engage in the practice of nutrition and dietetics practice unless he has been duly issued with a registration certificate and a practicing license by the institute in accordance with this act. This is very critical. Number 2, a license granted under this act shall be valid for 1 year only. 1 year only, okay? Number 3, I'm continuing on expiry. A license may be renewed for such further period not exceeding 1 year. This is a practice all over. Yeah, you go to the nursing council, they practice the same. You go to, it is very critical because you must remain relevant, isn't it? You must remain relevant. And we acknowledge you must continue updating also your knowledge. So we can't just give you a license forever. We must know if at all you are still relevant, isn't it? Because now the profession is really moving very fast and nutrition also is growing, isn't it? Yeah, I think you must agree with me. Okay, number 4, where a license expires and is not renewed for a period of 1 year, the name of the holder of the license shall be removed from the appropriate record. Yes! Yeah, I want you guys to practice professionalism. Yes, so thank you very much and may God bless you.
The disciplinary statement. The disciplinary committee is one of the council committees charged to receive and investigate complaints against practitioners in accordance with the rules and regulations under the Nutritionists and Dietitians Act. Number 1, the disciplinary committee may order the removal from the register, suspension of registration or revocation of the practicing license of a practitioner or the imposition of a fine on a practitioner as may be prescribed by the council if that practitioner A has been convicted of an offense punishable by imprisonment, the commission which in the opinion of the institute has dishonored him in the public estimation. B, has been guilty of negligence or malpractice in respect of his profession. C, has been guilty of impropriety or misconduct, whether in respect of his profession or not. Number 2, upon an inquiry held by the committee, the person whose conduct is being inquired into shall be afforded an opportunity of being heard either in person or through an advocate. Number 3, for the purpose of the proceedings at an inquiry held by the disciplinary committee, the committee may administer oaths and may subject to any regulation made under the Act, enforce the attendance of persons as witnesses, and the production of books and documents. Number 4, any person whose name has been removed from the register or whose license has been suspended shall forthwith surrender to the institute his certificate of registration or license, and any person who fails to do so commits an offense. Lastly, number 5, and a person aggrieved by the decision of the committee may within 14 days from the date of the decision appeal to the High Court.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Our guest of honor, Professor Julia, standing in for His Excellency, the Governor of Nairobi. All council members, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I take this opportunity, first of all, to welcome all of you for this congregation. And I want to also, before I give my statement, to inform the graduates and, of course, the professionals, including the CEO, that all that the law does is to make sure that there is sanity in the profession of nutrition and dietetics. And it is for our benefit to lock out quacks from the market. Madam Guest of Honor, the profession of nutrition and dietetics in Kenya is now taking shape as KNDI Council continues to implement its mandate. Currently, the Institute has in register 6,500 members and 6,100 index students pursuing nutrition and dietetics at certificate, diploma, degree levels. These professionals can now join the workforce in the health sector and other sectors which require services, nutrition and dietetics services. Madam Guest of Honor and the public, employment of qualified nutritionists and dietitians in Kenya is critical in the revival of the economy of our good country, Kenya. Nutrition and dietetics being critical in the prevention of a number of diseases would mitigate heavy expenditure on the curative treatments burdening our health sector. A recent study on social returns on investments revealed that for every $1 spent in nutrition and dietetics capacity building, there is a USD $13 return equivalent. The professionals who are now being licensed here today will majorly fill the human resource gap in the health sector and are considered as qualified healthcare professionals. Kenya has now trained and registered over 6,500 nutritionists and dietetic professionals, and among these, only 10% are employed in both public and private sector. In our scientific estimations, 90% of healthcare problems are at curative level have their origin from poor nutrition and dietary habits and circumstances. No wonder, Madam Guest of Honor, other medical professionals are now yearning for nutrition knowledge based on this realization. Now, if the national and the county governments could employ all the 6,500 registered professionals and the professionals practice diligently, then Kenya health sector would not spend huge sums of money on expensive machines in our hospitals needed for diagnosis and treatment of cancer and other non-communicable diseases. Other potential employers of these professionals are non-governmental organizations in health and health-related areas, agriculture and food security sector, UN bodies, Ministry of Planning and Research institutions, just to mention but a few. The Institute is pleased with, in the Institute, in the spirit of private-public partnership, to all partners to engage request all partners to engage in engage the professionals that we are licensing today. This group of licensees represent the third cohort of professionals in the history of Kenya and the world that have gone through harmonized core curricula, internship program, and standardized professional examination. And I want to paraphrase by saying that these are rigorous processes and is not part of the old trained graduates. I am confident that professionals being graduated here today will deliver in various areas of their endeavor, and therefore appeal to the Council of Governors to engage degree, diploma, and certificate holders as per the recommended ratio of 1 to 2 to 4 for a healthcare facility with at least one ward. Which means that Tier 3 facilities, for example, should have at least 7 nutritionists for effective service delivery. At this point, it would be important to inform the general public and potential employers that nutrition and dietetic services are not transferable, in as much as policymakers would embrace task sharing as detailed in the task sharing policy in the Ministry of Health. As a professional, I take this opportunity to advise all policymakers that the nutritionists have already been trained in reasonable numbers, and the numbers are increasing steadily with the KNDI in place and training institutions continuing to admit. So engage nutritionists and dietitians to practice their science with diligence to save the nation. With this, I would also remind the Council of Governors and the national government that KNDI posts approximately 600 interns every year in 31 centers across the country, and each county has been touched. And with this, these interns are working daily, offering services, since they are already graduates. However, the interns are doing all this without any single penny, which is a critical factor in performance. As a reminder, a professional who is malnourished, this is to the county and the national government, a professional that is malnourished cannot effectively treat a malnourished patient. And interns would only require an annual budget of 180 million, not 1,000, 180 millions if we go by volunteer rate of 25,000 shillings per month. This money divided by 47 counties would be a budget allocation of only 3 million, equivalent 800,000 per county. Is this not easy budget for the county? And as I conclude, without being an activist, being a realist, KNDI management congratulates all the licensees during this special occasion, and may you live to deliver as per the Code of Ethics and Conduct, professional oath that you shall take today, and Nutrition and Dietitians Act number 18 of 2007, Cap 253B, and its amendments that are yet to come. End of the statement, and congratulations.
In the absence of Kutwa, Moses, allow me to kindly take us through very quickly the internship statement on our program. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, let me welcome all of you to the third convocation ceremony of KNDI. It is indeed with pleasure to have you gathered here to celebrate this great endeavor. Choosing the right person to seek help and advice from can sometimes be a confusing task. Many people claim to be experts in nutrition and dietetics, yet have very limited knowledge and offer no protection to the public. It is our pertinent duty to improve nutrition and dietetics workforce capacity to deliver services in scaling up nutrition agenda nationally and internationally. In Kenya, we have limited capacity of professional expertise to effectively deliver services to scale up nutrition, without which achieving favorable nutrition and dietetics outcomes will remain a daunting task. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that every citizen has a right to life and the highest attainable standards of health. The Kenya government, on the other hand, aims to provide equitable and affordable health care to her citizens. This is in recognition of the fact that good health and nutrition boosts human capacity, empowering economic growth, reducing poverty, and also enhances realization of societal goals. As an arm of government and a statutory regulator of Healthcare Professional Council, KNDI oversees the mandate to register and offer a coordinated, supervised internship program for dietetics and nutrition professionals. During the program, the graduate students acquire the most up-to-date relevant skills and scientific research on food, health, and disease from the various cadres of specialties, which they translate into practical guidance to enable people make appropriate lifestyle and good food choices. Thereafter, they sit for credential examinations from which they earn continuous professional development, CPD, points accepted in several states globally for licensure purposes. They then become legitimate professionals who can use the legally protected title, registered dietitians or nutritionists, and governed by an ethical code to ensure that they always work to the highest standard. Today, ladies and gentlemen, before you are presented competent, qualified, and certified professionals committed to offer reliable information based on scientific evidence along with practical advice on lifestyle and healthy living. Let's tap these professionals and make them assets in our capacity building to scale up nutrition to greater heights, improve the country's economy and the social well-being of our people, a prerequisite component for growth and development. Thank you very much, and once again, congratulations. We are now going to a section where all our names are going to be read, and guardians, you are going to be hearing the names of your relatives, your sons and daughters being read as graduates to be awarded licenses, the reason for which we are here today. So it's my honor to invite the Chief Executive Officer of KNDI to take over from this moment onwards.
We may have heard of the Medical and Practitioners Board, the Public Health Council and Technicians Board, the pharmacists. We are all in the same sector, but I want to say that every institution must have innovative way of executing their mandate as long as the mandate is within the law. And as we are ushering you into the professional practice, you must understand this, that you are the professional. So do not allow anybody to take up your role as a nutritionist, because we have so many quacks purporting to become and masquerading to be nutritionists. And so when you get your license, it is you to protect, because KNDI is an institute and the institute is you. The institute is not the CEO or any individual. It is you who form the institute, and the institute is law. And the law regulates everybody, including those who create the law. So take this as a matter of your professionalism, and as your name is read, just internalize. And as our chief guest will be giving us taking us through the oath, prepare yourself that you are undertaking a service domain that is going to serve this nation. So, Madam Guest of Honor, may I take this opportunity to invite the readers, the following, to read the names. Professor Edward Karuri, reading the awardees, licensees as clinical nutritionists. Professor Edward.
I'll read out your names. I'll start with clinical nutritionists. As I read your name, as I call it out, you kindly stand up to be seen by everyone and remain so standing until instructed to sit again. Thank you. Madam Chief Guest, the following 425 candidates who have successfully completed their internship program have satisfied the Accreditation Board of Examiners and the Nutritionists and Dietitians Council for the award of the Kenya Nutritionists and Dietitians Institute license to practice as nutritionists, specifically clinical nutritionists. You allow me to read Abdinua Suleiman, Abdullahi, Abdule, Achieng, Achoki, Ado, Agoy,